Hello, heartbeats, and welcome to Abundant Hearts Speak. Well, I don't have my better half today. He is ill. We live in Japan, and let me tell you, the cherry blossoms are beautiful, but they bring about some serious allergies. So I just got over mine maybe about the middle of last week. And if you notice, I am still a little nasally, but I had to do a post for you guys. So here we go. We're going to talk today about the care you give. And the care you give is basically talking about, who do you care for first? Is it always others? Is it always yourself? Or do you have balance? And remember, that's what we do with Abundant Hearts. We talk about balance. So with the care you give, are you depleting yourself by caring for everyone else except yourself? Or are you neglecting your loved ones because all you do is care for yourself and you don't care for them? Well, let's talk about it today. And let's talk about how we could put the balance back. So even with us being ill all this week, it's always been something. Joshua got sick, so he had to be brought home from school. And then, but ministry was still going on. And I had singles ministry on Tuesday, but Joshua was home sick. And so Paul took up the reins and he started, we kind of tag teamed it. He stayed with Joshua for the first part, and then I ended up taking care of him the latter part. Then he got sick, and so then he stayed home from work, and it was like I felt really guilty for even going to work because I know how he is when he's sick. It's rare that he's sick, but when he gets sick, he just really wants me to be there. Because remember, his love language is physical touch. So he really wants me to be there with him to, rub on him and stuff like that. And I did. I felt a little bit bad because I ended up going to work. But before I did that, I had to make sure he was okay with that. I was like, babe, you sure you don't need me to stay? If so, I'll come home early. He was like, no, I'm okay. I'm just going to rest. So it's that balance of what we do when we care for someone. We don't want them to feel neglected, but then again, we don't want to deplete ourselves either. So, as soon as I got home from work, I made sure that I had him some food and I took it upstairs straight away. And then I was making sure that he was taken care of, because that's what we do as a spouse. Wonder if you don't have a spouse, then what do you do? Well, in any relationship, you're going to do that balance between you and your significant other. But if you're single, you still have to balance and maintain. Do you give all that you have to your work? Do you give all that you have to your friends? Do you give all that you have to your family? It's important that we do self-care. And especially, do not lose who you are by caring for others. Do you lose yourself? All you do is care for others. You don't care for yourself. You make sure that everybody is taken care of. You make sure the food is cooked for others. You make sure that they've made it to their appointments. Have you made it to your appointments on time? Do you just take that leisure time just to give way to a relaxation day for yourself? Are you in your word? Does that give you comfort and relaxation? But you're so busy with the job, you're so busy with others that you don't do the things and take the time out that you need in order to recharge yourself. So it's all about self-care today. A friend of mine asked me some questions. She was like, taking care of yourself and meeting your needs, do you feel like you are neglecting others when you do that? That's a very good question, because that goes back to your self-worth. Do you know your worth? Do you understand that you are worth rejuvenation? Do you understand that you're worth some relaxation time? Sometimes when we give to others and we don't look at ourselves, it's because sometimes we don't know our self-worth. And to the flip of that, when we just self-consume and we have these tendencies to not worry about anybody but ourselves, and we become neglectful, that means that we don't give worth to our relationship. So what is important here is to give the balance. Give the balance. Make sure once a week you are taking care of you, at least once a week. And make sure you're giving that quality time to friends and family once a week. Mark out that time. It's okay to plan. It's okay to plan. Because sometimes when we fail to plan, we plan to fail. So it's okay to do that. If you know you have a deadline on your job that needs to be done, make sure you get that deadline done. Map it out. Bit by bit, piece by piece. But that doesn't mean give all of yourself to your job and you don't have anything to give to others or even yourself. Self-care is so important. The care you give is so important. Don't just give your family your leftovers. Don't just give your job your leftovers. Don't give God your leftovers. Make sure you're intentional in what you give to people. And make sure you're giving the people your best. But in the same tone, don't give yourself leftovers. Don't look at yourself as last and giving whatever the little crumbs are at the end to yourself. You're worth more than that. You know, when you're on a plane and they're trying to give you all of the safety regulations and what you should do in case of an emergency, the first thing they tell you is put your gas mask or the mask for air on first before you help someone else. Because it's unfortunate that you'll help someone else out and then you don't get the air you need in order to survive. It's the same thing when we're thinking about self-care and the care that you give. Put your mask on first. Give your care first. And then you'll be able to be that 100% to others. So if you have not subscribed to Abundant Hearts, hit that button down below. And don't forget to hit the bell as well. Because we want to help balance. That's all. The balance that we're achieving and we're learning, because we haven't arrived yet ourselves. And this is a transparency moment. We have not arrived at the balance ourselves, but we're working on it. And what we're giving to you is what we're putting in place for our own lives. So if you're not one of our heartbeats yet, become one of our heartbeats. Hit that subscribe button right down there and that bell. Also follow us on social media. Hit Abundant Hearts on Facebook, Abundant Hearts Speaks on Twitter and on Instagram. And we welcome you. Love you, heartbeats. Until next time.